I gotta be a little careful here because this game doesn't all work clockwise. I always play my solitaire games for whatever reason in counterclockwise direction. Just have to bear with me on that. But then, when it comes, that works fine for the dice allocation. Both in terms of the first player starts, rolls his dice, the next player, clockwise or counterclockwise in my case, gets to pick a die. You go around. Once that die set's done, the next player in clockwise or counterclockwise order in my case rolls their dice and it sets up the thing again. But in table resolution, it's done counterclockwise, which means I'll be doing it clockwise, just to be as confusing as possible for the video's purposes. Alright, so what's not clear here is determining the faces. The player immediately to the right of the player holding the start player marker finds the box on their black row containing a wink and proceed right. So what I'm guessing is you will be going through all the phases no matter what. Again, the rules need to be nailed down a little bit more. It's not a complicated game though, so you can pretty much figure out what's intended. Alright, so let's start over here with blue. I like blue. And he takes one of each die, and now he gets a bonus die. Well, what the hell does he want? And that's a good question. To me, the starting layers are going to require white, so I'm going to guess I want a white die. I don't know. Maybe he wants funding. Funding seems important. But this is what he rolled. So the black die is 3, and I could pick this right away, and it would guarantee hiring takes place, but I got no reason to believe that I particularly want that to take place. So I'm going to withhold my decision on that. I look at these. I have a 2 and a 3. Those are kind of hard to see, which would allow me to pick up 2 white cubes or to steal, that's what the little hand means, a team from someone else. I kind of like the 2 white cubes. So let's look at my other options. A red 1 means I'll be able to get a red cube and a specialist. That doesn't sound terribly good to me. A green 5 says I'd get 2 private funding. That's kind of appealing. A blue 3 says I steal a specialist. And this is my black. I'm not terribly interested in that. I like the green 5. I think I'm actually going to score this, and I'm going to put this aside simply because I don't want to get confused as to which are allocated and unallocated dice. Because remember, some of the people get to take dice that are not in play and utilize them. So now we come here to the red player, and he's going to say, well, I don't have the green option, but the white is indeed a pretty good option at 2 and 3. I like 3. I'll drop my thing there, and I'll take this die. Then we go over to green. He's got the choice here. Steal a specialist. That doesn't sound too exciting. A red and a specialist, or oh, I picked the wrong one for him. Or steal a team member. I'm going to take this. It may not be what I want right away, but I'll get other opportunities to play pieces, and that gives pretty much crap left for this guy. Now he could take the hiring bonus and force a hiring action, but I don't see that as being too valuable. So I'm going to place here instead. Now, if nobody takes hiring, I'm not going to get that. And this is why the 3-player game has the progress being forced into play. So now we go over here. Now we're only going to get 5 of these, but that becomes apparent because all of our little discs will be on the board. So, take 1 of each. I got the whites I want. I don't have the funding I want. I'm going to throw a green cube in. But if people don't take the blacks, nothing happens. Okay, 4 and 6. This just gives me a pile of cash. That could be neat. This gives me some additional private funding. 1 triggers funding. Not very useful for me. 4 in red is progress, but that's progress on one particular line. 2 in blue would give me a pile of cubes there. And then 6 in white would give me a lot of progress. I'm not entirely sure that I want progress at this point. I think I'm going to take the green 6 and grab some cash. That'll give me, a little bit of extra leeway as to hiring things. I would like to get my funding up, but my funding die isn't very good. And maybe these are terrible decisions. There's no question there. So this guy over here says I can get lots of progress, but I probably can't gain much because I have no cubes coming to me no matter what. Same thing here. I could get a bunch of cubes. I could get some funding, or I could force funding to happen. I'm going to take some private funding. Kicking over here. I don't have any funding coming to me, so I am going to grab some blue cubes. I'm not happy with this because when payday happens, I'm not going to get, I may have too many cubes on the board. This may not be a good thing to do. What are my other options? Progress. Lots of progress. Funding gives me a specialist and helps all kind of other people. See, I'm just not thrilled with this one. I'm going to actually take this instead. And what did I get rid of? I got rid of this and gave myself some progress. Hopefully I'll have some cubes. Over here. Well, I want to make sure that I trigger my funding because I have an advantage there. So I'm going to put a thing there and make sure I get that. Third player. It's 5 dice. What do I want as my bonus? Well, I know funding's going to happen, and if I could up my funding, that would be useful. I'll take another green die because somebody already has chosen black, right? Of course, that opens up funding for someone else, but that's okay. So I get 1, which is the public, 4, which I can't use because I already have. What are my other options? Advancing, a progress marker, advancing. Well, I'll take some public funding as well as my private funding. And what's important here, if I put my pieces on the board. Hey, what do these little white cubes mean? That's a good question. I don't think I explained them, nor even really know. Oh, those are my workers. I start out with a worker. Ooh, there we go. So that's just where I keep my workers so that I can quickly see how much money I owe. What's important about where I am is you want to keep these two equal because you only get the lower of them on a payday. So by getting a funding in each type, I kind of get an advantage there. Now this guy could take some private funding. He could progress. He's got a lot of progress options, but I think he wants to score himself some funding, since that's the only thing we know is going to even happen. 4 is the progress. I'm not making any of that. But all of these are going to gain progress. Obviously, the bigger numbers are more valuable, but not terribly so when you don't have many cubes. So, I get something if I mark this. Even if I'm not going to get any advances in progress, at least I get myself a team member. And that might be advantageous to me. So I think, over to this guy, all his options are progresses. I'll work on the flying car. Okay, and now if you were playing 5 players, each player gets 1 roll of the die. In this case, the first player gets an extra roll. That's a slight advantage. There's no question there. But I don't think it's gonna... Yep, I get to pick a color. What do I want? Well, I am hiring people. I've got some progress going on. That's going to get triggered. I've got some funding going on. That's going to get triggered. I don't see any hiring. Nobody has picked hiring here, which means my play there might be useless, but then again, everyone except blue is lacking hiring. Do I really want that extra specialist? Maybe. Or do I want something else? I'll throw a black die in and go for that. That seems like not a bad plan. I get 2 and 3. That's payday and hiring. This is useless to me. These are all... This is useless. These 2 are advances. I'm already doing some advance. I am going to... My income's not particularly good. I'm going to take a hiring check. Puts it over to him. He says, Green 4 is some additional private funding. Might be interesting. We know we have hiring. We could trigger a payday, but we're not making a lot of money. Or we could trigger some progress. And... I don't know. What if... See, if I don't eat up this private funding, he might grab it. It's not a lot, though. And I've already got plenty of that. Somebody's already working on red. We are the blue player. We'll throw this in the blue space. I don't know. Yeah, payday gives me some cash, though. And I have more funding than my users. Yeah, let's trigger a payday. Here's why. Some people may be hiring more than we are, and then they're gonna not make as much cash. Whereas we're only gonna make $2 here, minus 1 is only $1, but we also get a couple of bucks for triggering the payday. That sounds like a good plan. Over here. He would like funding, I think. just for long-term plans. Additional hire doesn't seem too valuable. We'll grab some funding, and then we're over here with only 3 choices. And those choices are progresses or an extra dude. Well, getting the lead in a track seems valuable to me. Nobody's on blue or red. We'll take the blue track, I guess. Doesn't really make a difference. We gotta go once more over here, and we scoop up some dice. These are really, they gave me some great components here for this and the other game. I might be doing some more of his stuff too. I really liked Founding Fathers, and some of his other stuff is more along the lines of that. This is more of a Euro-y dice game. Okay. Let us see. Oh, I probably could be keeping some of these chits over here on the player map. So what am I interested in? Am I terribly interested in increasing funding? I think so. I want the option to get public funding up. Well, I didn't get a great die roll there. There's a lot of cash available if I want it. Blue is an advance. I'm not terribly interested in that. Jesus, why am I doing 3 blacks? What the hell's wrong with me? Red is a dude. White is advances. I could do another black. I could do them all. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing that. I get another dude. There's a progress going. I probably want to be in one of the progress lines. And right now, white's available. I'm going to take the white progress and be the guy in the lead on the flying car. By the way, the first player is the person who was last in a flying car. If nobody meets that qualification, you randomly determine. But that kind of sucks because I've done both teleportation and time travel recently, but I have never been in a flying car. Okay, teleportation, time travel in one direction, teleportation, very limited amounts as I'm walking. But, you know, okay. What's red on here? Lots of cash. Might be a useful thing to jump on. I'm probably not going to have a lot of advances. I'm going to be able to advance on here. I don't know that I'm going to be... I don't know what the cards look like. That's the problem. I don't think I have the things to do a lot of them. So let's see what I might be able to hire. I don't have any low number blues. That's kind of the problem. Hiring's not happening. Well, I need to hire. I need to hire because I'm really counting on that 2 whites bonus. Coming over here. Some cash. Or advances in blue. Or one of these things to hire. I'm going to be hiring a couple of people. I've got decent funding. I don't know if I need the cash. I really doubt that I can advance twice in blue. That many spaces. So I suppose I'll take this. That puts it over to him. He doesn't have a lot of different people to hire, so he's going to take himself a pile of cash on the funding table. And we're ready to go to the second stage of the turn, and I'm going to take a break before we hit it. So, 2 people picked the hiring. Oops. Well, that was stupid. I'm not sure how that ended up happening either. But stupid things happen when stupid people are playing. And alright, so this guy is going to have the first action on these triggers, and his is going to be the hiring. Since he's the one who got picked, this guy's hiring is screwed. If he picked this first, this guy kind of trumped in by taking his. He gets the bonus instead, right? Now, he's going to get a specialist of his choice. Well, what's he going to be doing? He's going to be getting a team member, some money, and some growth. My feeling is that the thing I most need is probably a blue generalist. So I'll hire one of them. The reason for that is primarily that I'll be able to get some growth off the blue-white combination. Now, some of these others are very attractive, but I just want to get something I know will work for me right now. Some of the other pathways I'd be more likely to explore in later games of this. Okay, so that's his benefit. Now, what order do we do these other actions in? Because everybody's going to be triggered in the hiring section. I'm not sure it matters. So hiring, well, it must. First, the player whose board receives the bonus, then each player executes starting with the player to the right of the start player. Okay, so this guy executed the board, and now he, being to the right of the starting player, or reverse right, executes his actions. And he's allowed to steal a cube from someone else. Well, no one's got anything but white. What do we want to steal? Oh, this is liable to piss people off. This guy's going to get a bunch of whites. I'm going to steal his cube. Nyuk, 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 nyuk. And that doesn't go away. This does go away, but we're tracking it right now. We'll go to his hiring. So he has a couple of things he's hiring here. He gets a red cube. And he gets to pick any color he likes. Oh, I didn't. Yeah, this is steal a team cube. I'm going to be able to steal this. It's the only specialist out there, so I get it. Should pay attention to what everybody else has, right? And, okay, I get my red cube, and I also get a specialist of my choice. I think Consultant's going to give me the most options out of these. So I'm going to take one of them. Now, this is kind of a crappy thing, because this is a guy who doesn't produce anything for my company in terms of making me victory points. But he does give me some more flexibility with the dice. I'll give that a shot. So those are his actions. Now, I don't think these actions can be repeated. This is only the hiring section, so I can actually clear these off. Over here, he hires 2 white cubes and ends up kind of behind, and no hiring here. All right. That gets rid of this, and I guess we swing through, and we come to him for black, and he has to do his funding next. Now, for funding, his bonus is to get one of those specialists. I like the generalist specialist for the same reason that he went with it. And for the actual funding, we start with this guy. He gets $3 and a level of private funding. You can take those off. This guy gets a public and a private funding. This guy gets $3. Need to make some change. And a private funding. And then over here he gets 2 private. Isn't going to give him a whole lot of money. Next one's payday. Well, he gets a $2 bonus for payday. And now we resolve each one in order. This guy, he's producing $2 from payday. He pays out 2 because he has 2 dudes. He breaks even. This guy, $3 production, but he owes an extra $1 because he has an extra worker. Over here, $2 production, he breaks even. Over here, $2 production, that big private funding doesn't help me, breaks even. That's another chip. And now we hit the progress track, and at this point I get to hire another team member. I take a white. I think those may be in more demand. We'll see. We don't really know what the cards are like. And we start with him. He has the option to open up the red track. He'll do that. That's going to cost him a white cube to move forward and a white and a blue to keep moving. He can't keep moving, so he'll just take his 1 space instead of the 2. Over here, Rainmaker's interesting just to give you extra cash. Okay, what does this guy have? He's over on the blue track. He's going to turn it over, see if he can make his movement on there. And you'll notice these say 1 because they're the first layer. The next layer will say 2 and then 3. Here, he needs a white cube. I'll commit a white cube. Oh, this guy's purple actually. Wrong player. Now I've got up to 4 advances there. So here it would be 2 white and 2 blue. Well, I don't have that much. I have a white and a blue, or a white and a white. Those are my only options. So I'm not going to be able to go any further than I did on the teleportation. This guy's going to take the last choice, the flying car. It's going to cost him 2 white to move forward. He'll take that. He must take that. That eats up all his cubes. He's not going to be able... He could reuse those 2 whites if he had a blue, but he doesn't, so he's not going to be able to advance there. And this guy is also moving on the white. He has 2 whites. That moves him forward. And then he has 2 whites and that generalist blue, which can be used as either white or blue. So he'll use his 2 whites again and a blue. I got more spaces. Let's see what I can find. Yeah. No, I'm not going to be able to advance any further, but I do get to learn what the next chart is, which I feel is to my advantage. I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to advance into it, but that I would want to see it. And that gets rid of his. And we're done with the turn. This would normally move to the left clockwise, so I move it here. And we're going on to another turn. And that gives you a little bit of an idea. I'm going to load this one up because, you know, it's the first turn. I'll make it a shorter video. I'll probably get some longer videos for the later turns. Maybe not go into as much detail of the actual play and just try to give, you know, more general impressions. Because doing it step by step, it's not really a lot of fun for me.